This episode of Homemade was previously recorded in front of a live stream audience who asked questions and cook along during the show. If you love cooking and want to join us in the kitchen, visit homemadecooking.com to register for free live classes. Now, let's get cooking. How the heck are you? Welcome, everybody. Ooh, big bear hugs coming from us over here at Homemade. Today, I'm so excited because we're kind of deep diving. We're going head first into a recipe that we've all had. Okay, we've had since we were kids. We are showing you how to make homemade hot dogs. Do I think that most of you are going to do it? No. Do I think it's going to be really interesting and kind of inspire you to make homemade sausage? Yes. And for those of you who do it, I'll just say you will not regret this one. When you make, I think this is true with anything. When you make anything from scratch, when you make it from the ground up, you can control everything. The seasoning, the quality of the ingredients, it's just so much more heightened. So really excited to jump into this with you guys. And I don't even know if we've ever made sausage on Homemade. So now you literally get to see how the sausage is made. We're so excited to take you through it. We have an amazing chef in the chat. Her name is Kat. What is up, Kat?
Hi, Chef.
How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Any big 4th of July plans for the weekend, the long weekend?
Just having a good time, honestly.
Yeah, me too.
Just what it's about.
We're doing a big cookout. I'm definitely going to be making these because, when a chef cooks for a big thing, there's expectations. So you got to bring your A game. So I'm going to show you exactly the recipe that I'm going to be making. But Kat, thank you for being here. So let's get cooking. First and foremost, we're making all beef hot dogs, and I love this because I grew up in a Jewish household. My dad doesn't eat pork at all, and a lot of hot dogs now are mixed beef and pork. In fact, when we go to ball games or if we go to a restaurant and my dad wants to order a hot dog, we always have to ask, is it all beef? And 90% of the time, it's not. Yes, there's all beef franks. We all know that, the Hebrew National, that whole jam. But a lot of the times they cut it with pork fat for many different reasons. But I like that we're going all beef. We're being pure here. So the one thing that you absolutely need is you need a sausage extruder. And what I mean by that is it kind of looks like this, right? And you're able to put different caps on it. But this is going to actually plug into our KitchenAid here. So if you have a KitchenAid mixer, you're like halfway home. You just buy this attachment. And then the second piece is just some interesting ingredients that maybe you wouldn't normally think of. So we'll get there, but let's start with hot dog 101. So basically what hot dogs are is a sausage. The weird ingredient that people don't realize when it comes to sausage making is the casing. Now, casing looks like one big long noodle. This is actually the small intestine of a lamb. A lot of butchers have it, so you can ask your local butcher. I wouldn't necessarily go to your grocery store and ask, but I'd go to a one-off family-owned butcher. And then obviously online you can order this stuff, no problem. It's actually really inexpensive. You can imagine why, right? A lot of people don't know what to do with it or don't want it, but it is so delicious. So basically for hot dogs, we take sheep intestine or sheep casings and we stuff it with beef. And you have this beautiful, snappy, just gorgeous, rich sausage that we call a hot dog. So first step is the actual beef itself. So we've got 2 pounds of ground beef here, and I'm going to literally just put that in a bowl of a stand mixer, right? So the same stand mixer that I'm actually going to use to make my sausages with. And then to kind of pimp up the juiciness of this beef, we're adding a little bit of beef fat. Now, if you can't find beef fat, guess what? You can use coconut oil, you can use butter, you can use any type of fat, olive oil, but we just want to give it a little bit more. The fat's going to keep it incredibly juicy. It's going to add a little bit more flavor, but more than anything, it's going to just keep it that nice and juicy. So we're going to add our little paddle attachment on here to our food processor, lock it down, and then just kind of slowly mix the fat in with the beef. You can do this by hand. You do not need to use the mixer, but let's be real, the mixer makes it so much more even. Cool. So I'm gonna let that mix. So we start with this. You can see it happening awesome. And now we're gonna add a couple of spices to the mix. So coriander, mustard, a little bit of paprika, black pepper. We like brown sugar. It gives it this caramely vibe that we love. But the weird ingredient here, I promised another weird ingredient, is milk powder. Now, we've done a lot of testing with this hot dog, and we really wanted to make a hot dog that you guys can make at home. And a lot of ingredients for hot dogs, if you go on like different blogs or online, man, they are crazy. And they ask for these emulsifiers. They ask for things that you could only order online and you'll never find. Milk powder is actually a really good emulsifier. It's going to add a little bit of bounce to our sausage, but it's going to bring the meat together. So this is just dried milk. You can find this literally anywhere. Any grocery store will have it. So I'm going to add that to the mix as well. In my hands, I'm just going to kind of mix this all up. And then once it's kind of combined, I want to go in with some water. Now, and we're just going to like eye the water. We're going to make kind of a slurry here. I really don't want people to think that like I'm not against a really good hot dog that you buy at the store. Like I love hot dogs. I absolutely love them. But when you make them from scratch, and you'll see if you actually make this recipe, which again, I know a lot of people won't. I'm cool with that. I'm glad that you guys are here learning. But when you make it from scratch, you guys, it's unlike any hot dog you've ever had. Unlike any hot dog you have ever had. I'm including the best ones in Chicago, ones in New York. It is incredible at home when you have a hot, crispy on the outside, fluffy on the inside, spice just laced through it hot dog. It's unlike anything you've ever had. So I'm mixing this spice mixture up with a little bit of water. You can see I'm kind of just making almost like I said slurry, but that's probably the right thing, like a paste. And I'm gonna just slowly add this in. All right, guys, so I'm gonna open up the mixture so you can see here. So you can see you have this like really emulsified paste. Crazy, right? I mean, that's the middle of our it already looks like a hot dog. That is the middle of our hot dog, okay? And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab just a spatula here. Just kind of pry off all the little bits that are stuck. All right, and let me just tell you, making sausage is like anything else when you really make it from scratch. Guys, it gets messy. And let me tell you, we're called homemade, all right? I'm all about the mess. I want the mess, okay? That to me means that you got your hands in there, that you felt it, that you really put your love into whatever you're making. And so for me, don't worry about the mess. If you're crazy about cleaning up as you go, do it. But really just embrace the fact that this is kind of a project. And it's a fun project. So I'm gonna give it one more mix through. And I'm smelling garlic powder. I'm smelling that paprika that we added. It really is nice. And let's talk about this casing. So when you get this casing, it really does look like a big long noodle. It comes packed in salt. That's how it's preserved. It also takes a little bit of the funk out of it. So the first thing you gotta do is you have to soak these casings. So you get them out of their package, they come to you in the mail or however you get them. You put them in warm water for like 15, 30 minutes. And that loosens them up, drains off the salt. Cool? And then, I can't really show you this, but it's really easy. What you wanna do is you wanna find an opening to the casing. So you just kind of find an end, and you put it under the faucet, cold water, and you fill it up like a water balloon, okay? You don't necessarily put it around the faucet, you just kind of hold it under the faucet, water will go in, you just need a little bit, and you just kind of push the water through, and it kind of flushes out the casing, and it makes it really malleable so we can stuff it. All right, so hopefully you guys can see a little bit of this, but basically, we have got our first piece to what goes into the KitchenAid. So this is like the first piece to the sausage extruder. So you kind of undo this little bit up here, fit this guy right on top, and you're good to go. Might want to zoom out a little bit. I don't know if we can, but yeah. Then I have this little plate up here. So I'm going to put this here. This plate is really good to kind of catch all the meat, the beef that's going to go in here. So plate goes on top. Then you've got this little twirly thing, right? Really easy. This is what pushes the actual mixture to the front. So you just kind of take this thick end, you put it right in there. And then there's lots of different dials that come with your KitchenAid extruder or any extruder. But for this one, it's always a plastic dial because this is just pushing the beef into the casing. It's not grinding it anymore. So I hook that up. I know you guys are already thinking like, this seems crazy. It's so easy. Trust me, it seems crazy when you're watching it, but when you actually do it yourself, it's like, oh, I can do this. Then you've got different sizes extruders. So they look like little cones like this. Here, I'll hold this up to camera. So there's really thick ones for big summer sausages. There's really thin ones for breakfast sausage. This is kind of a medium one, perfect for hot dogs, Italian sausage, things like that. So I just take this little screw cap, put it on, and then I take this guy and screw it right in. Come on, baby. It's hard to do for camera. I'm doing it all backwards. Beautiful. Make sure it's nice and tight. That looks great. And then the last piece, really, really important, is we've got kind of the jammer, whatever you want to call it. But this is what's going to allow the beef to really get pressed into the machine and out the extruder. This is really important, right? If you push it too hard, it can burst at the seam. But if you do it too soft, it doesn't fill it up enough. So it is kind of like driving stick shift. You know, it's like you have to like let off the pedal. You have to go a little bit. So this just sits in top and it's waiting for us. So I'm going to pick up one of these casings. I'm going to find the end here. And when I find the end, I'm going to put a little water on the actual tube itself. That helps allow the casing to kind of slide on a little bit better. When I find the end, I just kind of put it on the actual tube itself. And I just start kind of moving it on the tube like this. All right, until you kind of get to the end. When I get to the end, I tie a knot. You don't need to tie a knot, to be honest. But it really, really, I think, kind of helps keep in all the goodies. There you go. So just like that. Cool. We like to start on like number 4. All right. What I like to do is grab some of my mixture, kind of overload the outside here, and then kind of just start pressing this down. I'm going to go even slower. And actually, one thing before I start going, this is a cool hack, is when the sausage comes out, it's kind of a long way from the tube down to the ground, and it makes it really tough. So I have like a bowl. I'll put a cutting board on top of that bowl. And now the table is up here, and the sausage can just, doesn't have to fly down there. It can just kind of rest right here. Easy. All right, let's start pressing it through. Now, if you get like little air bubbles like this, it's really normal. But what you want, you don't really want those little air bubbles. So what I like to do is grab a little toothpick and kind of pop it, if you can. It's amazing how strong this casing is. See, and that just kind of goes down. So in we go, here we go. Let's get that meat going. Sometimes it takes a little bit of that meat just to kind of come through so it can start. I'm going to have to turn it up a little bit, turn up the heat. And right when you see that first bit, that's kind of when you know, all right, it's game on. And this is not like Lucy in the Chocolate Factory. It's not going to run away from you, nothing like that. All right, so you can see it starting to come out, right? And if I press down a little harder, it comes out a little bit faster. And I'm kind of just guiding it. If you see a little bubble like this, that's okay. but you can pop it if you want. And I'm just kind of pressing down. And you're getting this awesome link. Isn't that cool? I think charcuterie and making sausages is like fascinating. I think it's, you know, people are obsessed with it. I'm not on that level, but I do love it. And whenever I get to do it, man, it's the best. I just have so much fun. So I'm just going to kind of keep filling it up. Right? Put some in. Oh, there's nothing better than an all beef hot dog to me. It's just pure. You just taste the quality. This is awesome. Amazing. Guys, look at this. Really starting to happen now. Just this beautiful, beautiful, perfect. No rips. Every once in a while it can burst open. That's totally fine. But the goal is just to kind of keep going. You want one long, beautiful tube. So you can cut this at any point, but what I like to do is kind of take the end, kind of give it a good wrap, and just scooch all the meat down. Right? And if you see big air pockets, you know what to do. Get in there with that toothpick and kind of just pop them. Even if you don't see a big air pocket, every once in a while just kind of give it a pop just in case there are any air pockets. And you just kind of scoot it all down. Then I'm going to grab a little bit off here. Give it a good pinch. All right. And if I want to, I can kind of just leave it from here. Give it a snip. Mazel tov. That's my one joke of the day. All right. And then you kind of give it a quick little turnsy. That tightens it. Look at this. Look at this beautiful homemade sausage we made. Is that not awesome? And then, to get your links, you kind of just decide, well, how long do you want it? To me, this is like 2 links here. So I might put a little indent with my finger right there. And then just give it a little twist. Right? Then you can grab your scissors or a knife. And guys, we have made homemade Frankfurters hot dogs. Is that not crazy? All right, so this dog, there's a lot of ways to go about cooking this. Put them in a little sheet tray like this. No oil, no nothing. There's enough fat in the lamb casing and in the actual hot dog itself, and just pop this in the oven. Now we do this at 250 degrees, which is really low, for about 30 minutes to cook it through all the way. All right. Big nice bowl, and we're gonna make our own relish. This relish is so easy. We kind of took some pickles, some gherkins, and we just put them in a food processor, but you can chop them by hand. So I'm just adding that to a nice big bowl. We got some dill, chop that up. Shallots, chop that up. This is like, I never do a dump and stir, but here we are. A little bit of sugar. It gives it that beautiful kind of briny pickleness. And then some celery seeds. Mix it all up. I mean, I'm obsessed with this relish. We've been making this relish for a long time. 5 ingredients, and it's unlike any relish you've ever had. Honestly. In the meanwhile, we got some beautiful buns. So I'm going to take these guys, kind of open them, and you can literally just put them right in your oven to toast. Okay. I mean, at this point, we're making hot dogs, guys, just like you took them out of their package. So this hot dog's ready to go. Right in the hot pan. I put a little bit of vegetable oil in prior. You don't need to, but I like it. It gives it a nice even sear and a good snap. All right, so you can see the more I flip this, the more shiny and snappy they're getting. So they're starting to kind of build that crust that we all know and love as it relates to hot dogs. So I'm gonna go after one of these buns, or I'll go after all 3. Look at this. Perfect even brown. You guys saw this thing be made. This was literally ground beef at the beginning of this class. And 45 minutes later, it is this perfect dog. Grab a little relish. Right over the top. I like a decent amount. Shall we? This is going to destroy my mouth, but here we go. Holy crap. That's the only thing I can say. Holy cannoli. Like, wow. You don't need ketchup. You don't need mustard. It's just pure beef. It's like the beefiest hot dog you've ever had in your life. The spices are so awake. They're not mellowed out like what you get at the grocery store. The beef itself, you can taste. It's like eating a steak almost. And then you have this pickle that's just, again, it's so rich, the dog itself. The pickle just counterbalances it, cuts right through it, and makes it beautiful. This, to me, if you actually take the time to do it, is worth every second. Well, you guys, I'm going to sit here and probably slam all 5 of these hot dogs. No, there's no chance. The team's going to be eating this, but make some homemade hot dogs, definitely some homemade relish, and enjoy some time with family and friends. Get some sunshine. Take care, everybody. Hey there, I'm Joel Gamoran. I'm the head chef and founder of Homemade, and we launched Homemade with the idea that we want to bring cooking and the kitchen to the world. So if you love cooking and want to join us in one of our free live stream cooking classes, head to our website, homemadecooking.com. That's homemadecooking.com to register today. Now, sit back, relax, watch a little bit more cooking maybe, and enjoy the rest of your flight.